What is going on, guys? Back with another video. So the market, it did have a good recovery. We did see a lot of altcoins start to really come back following the news in relation to a ceasefire, which was never going to last long. This was announced by Trump, and there's just so many developments happening with this situation, and you know, it's just a drama scene at this stage, right? With how he acts as if he's the peacemaker, as if he didn't do anything, and ultimately, this isn't the end of this. There was never going to be a long-lasting ceasefire with the current situation. You can't just go into another nation and then expect them not to retaliate. So what happens with that, we'll obviously have to wait and see. He loves to post. He comes out on Truth Social and just puts out so many different just insane things. Um, and he's been coming for Jerome Powell as well. Basically, he's really getting frustrated. He wants those rate cuts to happen, and ultimately, guys, the best thing to do is to just shut off from all the noise. You need to really have your conviction in these solid plays. Whatever's going to happen in terms of this situation, if it does escalate, then ultimately, crypto is going to be the last thing that you're going to be concerned about, because there's going to be bigger things to worry about. But, ultimately, the market did recover, and, it did obviously expect a worse situation to happen, but anything can happen, guys, and you do need to be prepared for anything to happen, right? So always, have that in your mind. Apart from that, guys, I want to talk today about one of the best performing altcoins on the week in the form of Psy. Now, I've been covering this for a long time. I've been DCing pretty much at the bottom, and I'm up a decent amount. This is, one of my biggest holdings. It's one of my high caps that I have a huge amount of conviction in. And the reason for this, guys, is clear. I saw the developments going on with Psy. I saw how it was growing as a chain in terms of TVL, the use case, and ultimately how well it has performed. Recently really just shows that this, in my opinion, is just the start. So it is up 72%. I think my average, I was DCing when this was around 800 million, 900 million. So I think overall I'm up around 40%, maybe 50% on my bag of Psy. And again, guys, because this is a high cap, this is one which I do have a bigger position in. Currently 1.5 billion in market cap, and it's really, really performing well. And ultimately, guys, where can this go, right? Because what I want to talk about is still the upside for this, because ultimately, even though it is up 70% on the week, this is still 1.5 billion in market cap, right? And when you look at some of the other layer ones, of course, when you look at something like Solana, 76 billion. You look at Tron, over 25 billion. Cardano, which no one's interested in, is still over 20 billion. Sui is close to 10 billion. AVAX, another layer one, which I hold, which hasn't really been performing, nearly 8 billion, right? So in my opinion, it is just a matter of time before Psy really comes up this list, and we see it around these levels, right? Sui, I think, is going to continue to perform, but I do think Psy is going to, really continue to push from here. Even Aptos, I think, is good. But when it comes to Psy, guys, they have had some massive, massive news, right? And this is something which is insanely bullish. We all know how many big backers they have behind them, and this is just another one in the list. Psy Network is selected by the Wyoming Stable Token Commission as a candidate blockchain for the stablecoin. So this is huge. This is, massive. A US state getting behind Psy and, basically using them for the blockchain for the stablecoin. And, I really think this has just so much more potential. This could be, that cascade effect where we see other institutes, other states, really start to adopt the chain of Psy, right? Because when it comes to layer ones, guys, a lot of people look at, they look at these high caps, they look at, the likes of Solana, BNB, Ethereum, Tron, Cardano, which have been around for years, right? And what's happening now is people want to look at the fresh new things. Of course, Sui, but we all know that, Sui had its massive run up. And just to show you just how quick Sui rallied, this was 1.4 billion in market cap in August 2024. And then going to, January the 5th, you're talking, less than 6 months, it went to 16 billion, putting in over a 10x. So it shows you just how quick some of these projects can move. And I really do think that Sai has potential to make a similar move like this. Other things that it's doing as well, guys, it's continuing to partner with different projects. Here you have another partnership with this thing here, which is basically a risk infrastructure. And again, another bullish factor is how the chain is growing in terms of fees generated over the past 7 days. You can see Sai, Aptos are the first and second in terms of the gainers, and then when it comes to the sort of users for EVM, it is ranked number 2, right? So you can see, guys, this is massive. The growth is insane. And then you also have the potential, which is insane, for a Psy ETF, which would just be, would cause this to go absolutely parabolic. So the developments are really, really bullish. And I still believe this has massive, massive upside. So, Psy 1.5 billion. This is a project which, in my opinion, could potentially give you that 10x. Could it give you higher potentially? But I do think a 10x is what you're looking for. Now, if you want more than a 10x, then where you can basically look is the ecosystem. And this is where I'm up pretty heavily on the meme coins when it comes to Psy, in the form of Milli and also Cyan. I was buying Milli around 600k market cap, so I'm up around 3x on Milli, and I think I'm up around 3 to 4x on Cyan. These were coins that I was buying, and the reason I was buying them, guys, is because when you come over to the Psy network, there is hardly any good projects on this ecosystem. And when it comes to meme coins, there's hardly any memes, right? The ones which are the best are obviously Cyan and Milli. These are the two which have the Mexi listing. And then obviously you've got your other, extremely high risk degen ones, which I do think we will see more and more meme coins on Psy continue to be developed. And I do think a lot of them are going to perform really well. A lot of hype's going to come in. We've seen how, meme coins on Sui have performed. And when you look at Sui, there are hundreds of memes. There's so many different memes on Sui, and there's only around 2 or 3 solid memes on Psy. Other projects you have as well, you have obviously various different dexes, which are still very undervalued. You've got this one here, Yaka, and then you've got some other ones as well. But ultimately, guys, I do think we're going to see more and more projects start to really build on Psy. Another thing which I think is really interesting is the potential for Psy to become one of the main blockchains, main layer ones for AI, AI infrastructure, AI agents. You can see here, building the rails for a $200 billion AI agent economy. We all know how hot AI agents are. We all know how well they performed, and they're going to perform in the future. And I think what Sai are doing to try and really position themselves within this, also within DeFi, within RWA, this is really promising, right? And what I expect to happen is we're going to see projects within the AI narrative, AI infrastructure, agents, which are going to choose Sai as their chosen layer one to build on. And I think we're going to see some really good projects come in, right? So I will be keeping an eye on potential upcoming launches. I do expect a lot of launches to come on Sai. Obviously, with how they've introduced Sai Giga, it's going to improve the speed, it's going to reduce latency, and overall, just going to make it a lot more attractive for potential projects to build on. So this is definitely something to keep an eye on. So yeah, guys, very bullish on Sai. I think this is really just the start. I think at the market cap it's sat at, I think this still has a good amount of upside. 1.6 billion market cap. For this to go to 16 billion, you're looking at close to a 10x. And I really do think that is very possible. So again, guys, you should have been DCing when I was telling you to, because it was obvious what was going to happen. Now, could this have a pullback? If it does have a pullback, I will be buying in more. I will be DCing more because I do have conviction in this. This is one of my most bullish high caps, and ultimately I do think this is going to perform well. And if you want those higher gains, you can come over and have a look at the ecosystem, which is still very early, right? There's very few projects which are on Sai. You've got some dexes, you've got a lot of memes, lending protocols. So yeah, guys, this is something which I think does have potential. I think this one here, Yaka, is a DEX on Sai. And again, these are just projects which potentially you could look at. I'm not saying this is one which is definitely going to pump, but a lot of these could pump based on the narrative. So a lot of developments coming with Sai, guys, and I do expect a lot more upside from this. And ultimately, this is one of my most bullish projects, and I really think this has potential to give some good gains. So quick update on Sai, guys. Massive updates, huge news in regards to the stablecoin news, and also how they're becoming a massive chain in terms of holders, users. TVL is increasing, potential for ETFs. It's insane. So hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon for the next video.